This meeting will come to order at 4 p.m. We're now holding a meeting of the ASI Student Senate. As per ASI bylaws, I will begin with a land acknowledgement. The Fresno State campus sits in the midst of the San Joaquin Valley, a valley rich in the traditions and representation of Native American peoples and cultures. We are grateful to be in the traditional homelands of the Yakuts and Mano peoples, whose diverse tribal communities share stewardship over this land. Thank you for joining me in this acknowledgement. I will now take a roll. VPF Zamudia Tejas.
Here.
VPEX Flores.
Present.
Senator Bladgett.
Present.
Senator Kamling.
Present.
Senator Chaudhary.
President.
Senator Dubois.
Present.
Senator Firstman.
President.
Senator Garabedian.
Present.
Senator Guzman.
Present.
Senator Hall.
Present.
Senator Hoke.
Present.
Senator Howdigi.
Present.
Senator Monzo.
Present.
Senator Mora.
Present.
Senator Prado.
Present.
Senator Renteria. Senator Rivera.
Present.
With 3 executives present and 14 senators present, we meet quorum. We will now proceed to item 3.0, public comment. Public comment is the time for any member of the public to address the Senate on any issue affecting the Associated Students, Inc. and or California State University, Fresno. You can either address your concern live during the meeting at the allotted time, or you can send your comment ahead of time via email to asi-vice-president@mail.fresnostate.edu. Whenever you're ready, you have 3 minutes to speak.
Hello, my name is Maria Valentina Acevedo. I'm a student of Fresno State, and I live on campus of the dorms. I just highlight, it's because today we have like the selection room, like 2 rooms, and then I think that upperclassmates are not given like a priority like on the housing. Like they're giving a priority to freshmen instead of us that were like, this is my 3rd year, it's gonna be my 3rd year, and then it will be my 2nd year living on campus too. And then we're getting a worse room than the one we have right now, and I just think that's actually unfair for us. And then like also it's like the same, like the room we're getting to compare to this one is the same price, and then we're paying for the same amount of money, and then just think that it's not fair. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much for coming to speak for public comment today. I'd invite you, if you could maybe speak to the person behind the camera today, if you can give her your information so that we could follow up with you afterwards to address your concern. And yeah, thank you so much for speaking today. Do we have anyone else for public comment?
Hi everyone. Some of you guys know me. I work in the student involvement office. My name is Shauna, but I come here also as an alum of ASI today. If you don't know, I'm a past senator of Health and Human Services many moons ago. I want to take a moment to remind you guys of the incredible responsibility and opportunity that you carry as members of our student government. Every decision that you're going to make today about funding echoes far beyond this room. It's easy to see a budget as just numbers on a spreadsheet. Just be like, oh, that's what that is, and not know what's behind you. But those numbers represent student experiences, events that create memories and build community, which many of you all have experienced, resources that support learning, and initiatives that make our campus more inclusive and vibrant. So the choices that you make today shape the student experiences for many of your peers as well as yourself. Maybe you're graduating, let's leave a great imprint for those that are still coming. You have the power to say this matters, this deserves support, this can make someone feel seen, heard, and connected. So I challenge you today, think big, think boldly, and most of all, think with heart, lead with empathy, and fund what fuels engagement, creativity, and belonging. Because when you do, you don't just manage a budget, you shape a legacy. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your commitment, the opportunity today later on to speak to you about budget, your service, and your leadership. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here today for public comment? Seeing and hearing none, we'll be moving forward to action item 4.0, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Hall.
I motion to amend the agenda to include VPEX and I's resolution.
Could you specify a time?
I don't see why we need any more than 15 minutes.
Okay, so 15 minutes for the item.
Even?
And then I would be slating that for 7.19. Okay.
Sounds good.
Is there a second to this motion? Senator Chaudhary?
I second.
All right. Any discussion or debate before we, seeing and hearing none? I'll be doing, I think a roll call vote is appropriate for this. So Senator Bladgett?
Yes.
Senator Kamling?
No.
Senator Chaudhary?
Yes.
Senator Dubois?
Yes.
Senator Firstman?
No.
Senator Garabedian?
Yes.
Senator Guzman?
No.
Senator Hall,
Yes.
Senator Hoke,
No.
Senator Howdigi,
No.
Senator Monzo,
No.
Senator Mora,
Abstain.
Senator Prado,
Abstain.
Senator Rivera,
Abstain.
and the motion fails. Is there another motion on the floor today for the agenda? Senator Prado?
I motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, is there a second to that? Senator Firstman?
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion or debate? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor to approve the agenda say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Any abstentions? Seeing and hearing none, the agenda is passed unanimously. We will now be moving forward to action item 5.0, approval of the minutes. I'm going to be turning off this mic because it's killing me. Can everyone hear me fine? Okay. We'll be going forward to action item 5.0, approval of the minutes. I will open the floor for discussion on the approval of the minutes. The Senate will review the minutes from the ASI Student Senate meeting held on Wednesday, March 26th. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Prado?
I motion to approve minutes.
Senator Rivera? Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing and hearing none. The minutes are approved unanimously. We'll now move forward to item 6.0 reports. First is item 6.1 campus resource reports. Each speaker presenting a campus resource report will have 2 minutes to address the Student Senate. Are there any campus resource reports today? Seeing and hearing none. We'll be moving forward to 6.2 campus admin reports. Same deal. Time-wise, are there any campus resource reports today? Or campus administration reports? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on. We'll move forward to item 7.0, new business. We will begin today's session with action item 7.1, budget call, a request from the biology department for their plant disease ecology lab course. I want to clarify to the senators and anyone in the crowd that for time constraints and due to the size of our agenda, our next 17 action items, including this one, are all regarding budget call requests. After voting 101, we will probably move on to the next in the same order. As normal, the Student Senate has reserved 15 minutes for these items each. If you feel like more discussion is needed after each item is presented by the Finance Committee, please give a motion to extend time, which will require a second motion and a majority vote to pass as normal. Remember that if you do not agree with the allocation that the Finance Committee has recommended to us, you have every right to amend the amount to increase or decrease it. But keep in mind that the Finance Committee only gave these recommendations based on our budget allowances. For full clarity to everyone here today, including those in the crowd, it is true that ASI has received a portion of the campus student fee increases for next year. But as that is not included in our current budget yearly, we cannot increase our budget call allowance this year since our budget has not yet been increased by those fees. The cohort after us will have full right to use those fees as they see fit, not us. So the news of our increase in fees will not affect today's deliberations. VPF Zamudio Tejas and the Finance Committee will present on these items, and after they present, there will be time for questions, discussion, and then we move on to motions and a vote. VPF, the floor is yours.
Alrighty, so just to kind of go over kind of what VP Zitza said, the Finance Committee's recommendations were data-driven and based on the projects and programs and the information provided on the applications as well as those that presented in the Budget Call Finance Committee. We want to be fully transparent, let the Senate know that they have the power to raise the amount, lower the amount, or deny the application as a whole. Budget Call is a resource that is provided to fill budget gaps for these applications. Its intended use is to support the programs and that will have a positive impact on Fresno State students. It should not be viewed or utilized as the sole provider or main source of funding for these programs. As we go through the applications, I will be keeping a tally of how much we have spent each application that has been approved. As a reminder, our baseline is trying not to go, in a sense, really over $70,000 because that's what our current budget can fully allow currently. Again, you guys have the power to ask questions, address your concerns, and ask anything. So we'll start moving forward. So the first application.
No, I mean, we'll just go in order because it's not going to be in order from that. It'll be different. Yeah. So yeah, first is just the biology department's request.
So firsthand, we have the biology department. The floor is yours.
Great, thanks for your time and attention today.
Our proposal is for funding for a new course that's both offered to grads and undergrads. This is in line with ASI's goal and mission to support student needs, and specifically the students that are interested in plant sciences and plant disease ecology, or plant pathology. This is a collaboration between two departments, biology, plant sciences, which also means two colleges, between myself and another faculty member to bolster coursework that is going to facilitate students with interest in these fields to become leaders in industry and academia. There's already coursework available in this field in plant science, so this course extends that, providing advanced training and expertise that will actually provide them for real-world jobs. The funding is being requested because, unfortunately, for new courses, there is no funding available within the department and college. This is one of the 189T, 260T courses, and so this will be the only time we're going to request funding for this. And I'll just note that because it was asked during the first meeting, that any leftover equipment and reagents that we have from this one time will be able to carry over the next semesters of the course. We're requesting $12.50 for a course that has about 30 to 40 students based on classroom limitations. In the future, we'll be requesting a student fee of about $40 that, again, isn't allowed to be requested at this point for a new lab course. So not only can we not get funding from the department for this, but we can't get funding from the students that are actually going to be taking the course, which is where the funding will usually come from. So let me know if you have any questions. I think that's enough info on my end, but let me know if you need clarification.
Before we move forward, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but I will be saying the requested amount and also the Finance Committee's recommendation. So for this application, the Finance Committee, the amount requested was $1,250, and the Finance Committee recommendation was the full amount. If you guys want to ask questions at this time, feel free to do so.
Any questions on the floor for our guest? So just to clarify, the Finance Committee recommended exactly what they requested? Okay. If I'm not seeing any questions, I can open the floor for motions. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator Charter?
I motion to approve the full amount.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Senator Howdy. Any discussion or debate? Seeing and hearing none, I'll be doing a voice call vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much for your time today, sir.
Thank you very much.
We'll move on to action item 7.2, Department, I'm so sorry if I butchered your department name on this one, but Department of Art Design and Art History's request for technology upgrades, and the floor I give back to the BPF.
So for this application, the the amount requested was $49,949, and the Finance Committee's recommendation was for $5,000. Currently, we have spent $1,250 of our $70,000 budget. So I will be doing these reminders as we go along. And the Finance Committee's recommendations, why they feel as $5,000 can kind of justify this, is for a technology upgrade will help our students towards the monitors. Due to limited funds, they aren't able to fund the full amount, but they hope that this can help at least supplement some of that.
And to clarify, the amount was what the Finance Committee recommended?
The Finance Committee recommended $5,000.
Okay. I don't believe there's a representative from the department today to hear, so does anyone have any questions for Lupita or anyone in the Finance Committee regarding this? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I'll open it the floor for motions. Senator Dubois?
I motion to approve the Finance Committee's recommendation of $5,000.
Okay. Senator Chaudhary?
I second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing and hearing none, voice call vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Any abstentions? Seeing and hearing none, the motion passes. We will now be moving on to action item 7.3, Office of the Provost request for sustainability project assistance, and the floor is back to the BPF.
For this application,
This is the sustainability one for the Office of the Provost.
okay, sorry, on our list it's flipped. So for this application, the total amount requested was $4,800, and the amount recommended by the Finance Committee will be for $1,400. This is to cover at least the cost of the month. Exterior funding is recommended. These were the Finance Committee's justifications. And then currently we have spent $6,250 of the $70,000 we're estimating.
Are there any, so sorry, we'd love to give you a chance to speak on your own item, so whenever you're ready, you can go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here and listening to my proposal here. So this proposal was really to be able to give a stipend to a student or just some form of payment to a student to be able to continue our composting program on campus. This project is primarily operated by the California Climate Action Corps fellows that are here on campus. So they usually operate this program through 11 months of the year, but there's 1 month where their program is not actually in session, probably because of the California's budget cycle. But so I really wanted those funds to be able to pay a student to continue the program in that 1 month that they don't operate. Just because my overall goal is to really be able to have a sustained composting program for our campus. And the campus farm already has a composting facility. It's really just that we want to be able to take food scraps from our dining locations here on campus. Like we've already been collecting from the dining hall, Juice It Up, the daycare center in the Kremen building, as well as a couple other places here and there, like the Student Cupboard or like the Gibson Farm Market. But we really wanted to be able to actually take those food scraps from campus and take them to the farm for composting so that they can use that compost on the farm. Because right now, currently, all of dining locations have their own like contract where they haul that waste off-site to go be composted somewhere, who knows where really. So we just really want to be able to have things kind of stay on our campus so that our farm can still kind of benefit from those nutrients that compost provides. So that's the main reason I would want this funding, is just to be able to sustain that year round.
Thank you so much for speaking with us. Is there any questions for our guest today? Senator Holm.
Just to be clear, this is $4,800 for 1 month for one student?
So the $4,800 ideally would have been for 2 students, but we are willing to go down to 1 student just for to be able to, not just for the 1 month. Ideally, I would like to start them before that month so that they're already trained and can just focus on the program by the time the California Climate Action Fellows are gone. So it would have been a little bit longer than a month, but I'm willing to do whatever the floor recommends.
So it's basically for payment for this one student to run the program for 1 month though?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are there any other questions for the guest today?
Can we discuss, or is this just questions?
Oh, well, once I open up the floor for motions, we have discussion time built in, so we can do it that way if we want to discuss in between. So no more questions for our guest? Seeing and hearing none. Thank you for speaking with us today. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Well, I will open the floor for motions. With that time, there is time for discussion as well. So, are there any motions on the floor? Was that? Here, I'll let discussion prior to motions. If there's any discussion on the floor, please raise your hand. Senator Chaudhary.
I just want to say, even though we did recommend at the Finance Committee $1,400 for 1 student, it does not align with our goals as to being able to allocate this budget for everybody instead of just 1 student. There's also a lot of other departments and organizations on here that we could be giving this money to instead of just focusing on 1 student. But I just want to say that, and I know we did recommend that, but just putting it out there.
Are there any other points of discussion?
Yeah, going off business center, I think that this doesn't apply to enough students broadly for us to justify $4,800 for this program. I think that if it was like smaller amount, or if there was a breakdown of this, it would be a little bit different, but I think that it's hard to justify $4,800 for one singular student.
I actually have some familiarity with these programs generally, and normally I'd agree because normally we don't fund things for a single student. I think that to define this project separately is this one student would be doing work that would benefit hundreds of students, if not thousands. So consider in the sense that normally, yes, ASI does not fund individual payroll for students or individuals, but context does matter here, and I think the context here is that one student would be responsible for a program that would be impacting a good chunk of the students on campus, right? Like I said, every opinion is valid here on how we use our money best for the campus. So are there any other points of discussion today?
Just a point of clarification, the finance committee recommendation was for $1,400, if that helps as well.
Are there any other points of discussion? Seeing and hearing none, I will open the floor for motions. Senator Rivera.
Motion to approve the recommended amount.
All right. Senator Howdy.
I second.
Thank you.
I motion to reduce the recommended amount to $1,000.
Okay. So we have two competing motions. Is there a second to this motion? Senator Chowdhury.
I second.
Thank you. So the first motion was to approve it for the full amount that the finance committee recommended, and then your motion was to
Reduce the amount.
to what amount?
$1,000.
Okay. So we're gonna be. Are there any other competing motions on the floor? Seeing and hearing none, we'll be doing Senator Rivera's motion first to approve the full amount. If that fails, we would be voting on the second motion, and then okay. So starting with Senator Blodgett on the motion to approve the full amount.
Yes.
Okay. Senator Camlin,
Yes.
Senator Chaudhary,
No.
Senator Dubois,
No.
Senator Firstman,
Yes.
Senator Garabedian,
Yes.
Senator Guzman,
Yes.
Senator Hall,
No.
Senator Hogue,
Yes.
Senator Howdigi,
Yes.
Senator Manzo,
Yes.
Senator Mora,
No.
Senator Prado,
Yes.
Senator Renteria, Senator Rivera.
Yes.
All right. The first motion to approve the full amount passes. The second motion dies. Thank you very much. Thank you so much to our guests. We will move on to action item 7.4. I believe I flipped these two, so my apologies, but it's still in Office of the Provost request, so we'll go with it. But we'll move on to action item 7.4, Office of the Provost request for Geology Club field gear and equipment repair. And I give the floor back to the VPF to present.
So for this request, they requested $8,850. The finance committee recommended $3,000 that will benefit the 10 students or cover the cost of compasses that students would be able to use in the development of the club. Now, if there's a representative that can help specify a little bit more on that.
So hi again. So this request was to be able to repair compasses that have been broken for various reasons. There's not necessarily like one thing that's wrong with them. These compasses are Brunton compasses. They cost about $500–600 each, and they are used in field work for geology and environmental science majors here on our campus, and they are also just required to use these in their classes. So being able to repair them for whatever it is that's wrong with them would just allow them to actually be able to complete their coursework and therefore graduate. And so the cost would really, we set as an average about $150 for each one of those compasses to be repaired. It's possible that it'll cost more, it's possible it'll cost less. $150 was just our average. And then we also wanted to request funds for field gear. Like I said, the geology and environmental science students have to complete a certain number of like field work for their classes as a requirement of their degrees, and not every person who grows up in the Central Valley has like proper field gear to actually go and be able to, do the camping that's required of these classes. And so we want to be able to allow students to actually buy their own field gear that they can keep themselves to. And So that would really just be, that could be anything from a sleeping bag, that could be a tent, that could be like waterproof clothing. It's really a range, and you know, we are kind of letting the students decide what it is that they need to actually be able to succeed in their classes. So the overall budget is to really be able to fix those compasses and get them the field gear that they need, just so that it can really succeed in the field when they're going through their classes. Because if any of you have ever done field work, it can be extremely draining, and if you don't have the proper equipment, it really makes you hate field work. So those things would greatly improve their own experience within their degree, and I think really make a big difference to actually get them closer to the finish line in their program.
Thank you. Are there any guests, or are there any questions for our guest? Guardians, Senator Garabedian?
What model of compasses do they have currently?
Brunton's.
What model from Brunton?
Oh, okay, so I don't actually know that.
Okay, because I'm looking at the Brunton page right now, and the most expensive individual compass I can find is $200. So
Okay.
I'm just saying, I think it would be more beneficial to just buy new ones at that point if they still do the same thing, instead of $150 per.
Do they have
per
a
pairs.
level? Do they have a level on them?
I'm not sure what ones that yours are supposed to be doing, but even if it's a $200 one, then
I'm going to guess that the $200 ones don't have the level, because it's not just about finding north for
Yeah.
the compasses that we use. They do have a level to be able for you to measure what we call dip, and so that allows you to be able to assess if there's tectonic activity happening. So, no, I don't have a good answer for you, but thank you for that.
Are there any other questions? Seeing and hearing none, thank you for presenting us today again. Thank you. Oh, okay, got it.
So before we move forward, the update currently is we have spent $7,650 of our recommended $70,000. So there is a total of $62,350 left. Again, the recommendation for this item from the Finance Committee was for $3,000 out of the $8,850.
Are there any questions for the Finance Committee at this time? Seeing and hearing none, I will be opening the floor for motions. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator Dubois.
A motion to approve the Finance Committee's recommendation of $3,000.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second motion? Senator Cameron.
I second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing and hearing none, I'll be doing a voice call vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Seeing and hearing none, it passes unanimously. Thank you very much. And yeah, one more round of applause for thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, and then it's a 7.5 should be the mass communications and journalism, right?
On my end,
7.5 in geology. Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, so next we'll be moving on to action item 7.5, or to 7. Sorry. Yeah, so 7.6 would be for the, because we just did the geology book review. Yeah, so 7.6, the Mass Communications and Journalism Department, Media Productions and TV Studio Assistants. I turned it over to the VPF.
so for this recommendation, the Finance Committee recommended $5,000 out of the $19,000 requested. They have asked for previous funding before, and unfortunately we cannot provide the full amount due to limited funding, but can help cover the cost of some of the equipment. If there's anybody here to talk about this action item, now would be the time. Again, I want to clarify, we have spent a total of $10,650 out of the recommended $70,000. So we have $59,350 left.
I'm assuming it doesn't seem like they've sent a representative today. Oh, they have.
Hi, I just wanted to double check. I'm from the Collegiate. Is this
part of that, or is that gonna be a different?
No, I think the collegiate is all the way at the end with the appeal on 7.17, I believe.
Okay, thank you, just wanted to double check.
No worries, thank you for that. But okay, so since we don't have a representative today, are there any questions for the Finance Committee today regarding this item? Seeing and hearing none, I will open the floor for motions. Are there any motions on the floor regarding this item? Senator Firstman.
My motion to approve the amount that the Finance Committee recommended.
All right, is there a second to this motion? Senator Proto.
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion or debate? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
So you- So one no. Okay. Any abstentions? Thank you very much. So yeah, one no. Okay. Okay. So next we'll move on to 7.6 action item, JCAS student housing on the school farm. The floor is yours again, BPF.
So for this budget call recommendation, the Finance Committee recommended $5,000 out of the $10,000 recommended.
Hi guys, if you don't already know me, I'm Torrance Carpenter. How many of you know that students live out at the farm? There's 5 of you, 6 of you. Okay, so there are students that live in the units out at the farm. There's apartments. Essentially these buildings were built for the farm to house animals, and they put apartments and made modifications to them later on. And that was back in the 90s. There hasn't been any consistency of updates since then. Mostly they're made by the students themselves, even though that's frowned upon. They are considered student housing, but student housing no longer has any rules over that or rights or anything like that. We're basically asking to just get some new equipment in there, because with every farm there is unfortunately rodents, and they do get to wirings and things like that, especially when buildings are well over 30 years old. Basically, these students were promised dining hall passes to help offset the challenges of living in the remote units. Unfortunately, those passes have not been delivered, so they don't have any means of kitchen nets or anything like that. They don't have a real kitchen. All they have is really a fridge and a microwave for some of those students. The dairy unit does not have anything but a fridge. And then on top of that, there's no access to laundry facilities, and I just feel that it's really hard for many of those students to get out to the farm and have to, well, wash their clothes a lot more than normal people, right, because they're working with livestock. So going out to the farm, having to go all the way out and then to a laundry facility, or hopefully call a friend and get those changed. So I just want to make their lives a little bit easier, especially since they handle livestock when they wake up and right before they go to bed, and sometimes in the middle of the night. So with that, we asked for $10,000 to replace any current items that they have in there, so fridges, maybe a microwave. I would like to put an air fryer, because I think those are much more usable for your regular average day student. I'm sure many of us can agree. And then, of course, each of those units has different needs and repairs. And so some of those might just need minor repairs or a full replacement, but typically we want to do a full replacement if it's a fridge, because those go bad after a while. So, yeah, I'm just asking for yours.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for our guest today, Senator Hall?
Out of curiosity, who promised them dining passes and didn't deliver? Like, why are you holding them accountable?
Unfortunately, I think it was like a miscommunication between the Jordan College and the dining services / dorms. I'm not sure where it fell short. I'm not fully known about. Yeah.
Senator Garabedian?
Does the current state of the housing units, I guess, like, does it have security issues, right? Are we afraid?
Yes, yeah, most definitely. They have a lot of security issues. They're not normal dorms, right? So these dorms that some of you may have stayed in, they have key cards. There is no key cards to get to those. They just have an actual key. And unfortunately, there's not real security out there. The public can come in at any point. So sometimes there has been found that people off campus or the public have tried to access those apartments. And the students can only do so much, of course, besides lock their doors and and install their own things. So, but yeah, there is more locking into their own units. They do have a key. There used to be janitorial staff that used to go in and take the trash, but that's no longer happening. I'm not sure why.
Are there any other questions for the presenter today? Okay, seeing and hearing none, thank you so much for speaking with us, Torrance. Is there any discussion on the floor, Senator Prado?
I motion to increase the budget for student housing on the Fresno State Farm from the proposed $5,000 to $10,000. These housing units haven't seen meaningful upgrades in over 20 years. Students living and working on our farm, supporting the dairies, swine, beef, sheep, and horse units often don't even have access to essential appliances like a fridge or stove. They must travel off-site to do laundry because they lack laundry facilities and were never given dining passes which were promised to them. This isn't just inconvenient to my constituents, it's unacceptable. Fresno is nationally known for agriculture. We're in the heart of the Central Valley. For reference, the Central Valley produces a quarter of the nation's fruits, nuts, other table foods, and 8% of United States ag. Fresno State offers a one-of-a-kind, hands-on learning experience where students can walk straight from class to the farm, which is rarely seen across the nation with other school farms. However, ag doesn't run on a 9-to-5 schedule. If a cow is calving in the middle of the night, our students are there. These students are living the industry in real time. We owe it to them to provide safe and functional living conditions. As a proud alum of Modesto Junior College, I've seen firsthand how impactful well-maintained ag housing can be. It was a key reason students attended, because it offered a full, immersive lifestyle in agriculture with modern housing units. MJC's farm housing is something Fresno State can model with your vote. Our farm is a recruitment tool, a learning lab, and a live-in mentorship program all in one. This proposal reflects our values of transparency, engagement, advocacy, wellness, and infrastructure as ASI. It invests not just in housing, but in student success, retention, and Fresno State's agricultural legacy. Together, let's honor the students who keep the farm running.
I'll have to, the formal motion that I'll enter is to increase to 10,000, right?
Yes.
Because I can't write all of that in. So, but is there a second to Senator Prado's motion?
I thought we were discussing and not motioning right now.
I misspoke it. To give you guys, to even allow discussion time, I was supposed to open the floor for motions. So the floor, assume that the floor was open for motions. But first, is there a second to Senator Prado's? Senator Rivera?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there a competing motion? Senator Chowdhury.
I motion to, well, for one, I want to say that the Finance Committee recommended $4,000 and not $5,000. It is wrong on the 25-26 recommendation
Alright.
Excel that we have. But I motion to give the Finance Committee's recommendation of $4,000.
All right. Is there a second to that motion? Senator Dubois.
I'll second.
All right. So we have two.
So discussion, we didn't have discussion.
Sorry, you're absolutely right. Thank you for that. And there's time for discussion right now before we move to a vote on these two items. Does anyone have any points of discussion? Senator Hall.
I completely agree with the ag schools in need of major renovations and just regular maintenance. But my concern is if we give $10,000 to student housing exclusively, there are issues within the ag units like wheelchair accessibility, that there's parts of the ag units that aren't even ADA compliant, which is, in my opinion, a very pressing issue that I think if we give all $10,000 for just the student housing area of this, then we're overlooking a lot of other changes that need to be made immediately. So I don't know if there's a way that we could incorporate that in or incorporate other things into this $10,000 budget referral, but I think that making it just for the housing is dicey.
In this case, we can't change the requests of the application itself on the floor. We can change the amounts that we give, but your point is well received. Is there any other points of discussion, or Senator Chowdhury?
I just want to say we only have limited budgets. That's a limited budget. That's why we recommended $4,000 as a finance committee after reviewing everything. So $10,000 would be a really high amount for us to give to just student housing for ag.
I do want to note that right now, the budget that the Finance Committee recommended was $57,310 on the spreadsheet, and we have up to $70,000 that we can spend.
Thank you for that. Are there any, Senator Chowdhury?
But there's also a lot of other applications, organizations that are
Are there any other points of discussion?
Just, I also want to clarify how much we have spent and also what our current budget is and how much we have left. So that way, one, I have enough clarification to all of you. So currently, the Senate has recommended $15,650. The budget is a recommended of $70,000, and total left we have $54,350 to spend.
Are there any other points of discussion before we go to a vote on these two motions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll be going in order of the motions received. So we'll be first voting on Senator Prado's motion to fund this request for the full amount of $10,000, and then if that fails, we would be going to the second vote of approving the Finance Committee's recommendation. So I'll be starting with roll call vote, starting with Senator Blodgett.
Yes.
Senator Kamling,
Yes.
Senator Chaudhary,
No.
Senator Dubois,
Yes.
Senator Firstman,
No.
Senator Garabedian,
Yes.
Senator Guzman?
Yes.
Senator Hall,
Yes.
Senator Hope,
Yes.
Senator Howdigi,
Yes.
Senator Monzo,
Yes.
Senator Mora,
Yes.
Senator Prado,
Yes.
Senator Renteria, Senator Rivera.
Yes.
All right. With a vote count of 13 yes, 2 no, the motion passes to fund the full amount of $10,000. Thank you very much. We will now be moving on to action item 7.7 from the Maddie Institute regarding their legislative intern program. We've given 15 minutes to this item, same as the others. PPF, the floor is yours.
Okay, just for clarification, the Senate has currently recommended $25,650 of the $70,000 recommended. Total left is $44,350. For this application, the Maddie Institute for the Legislative Internship Program has requested $12,500, and the Finance Committee's recommendation is $2,500. Floor is yours.
Great. Well, thank you all very much. My name is Blake Zanti. I'm the Executive Director of the Maddie Institute. I'm also a ASI alum.
My name's Lupe.
And we're here for presenting on behalf of our budget request for the Maddie Institute. For those of you who aren't familiar, the Maddie Institute is a nonpartisan policy institute headquartered here at Fresno State, but we're also partnered with the other Valley's public universities and also community colleges as well. We offer paid legislative internships to students who want to get into public policy. We're open to all majors, so any major can apply. We're not just limited to political science or social science majors. Any student can apply for our internship program. Each year we send approximately 35 students for our local legislative internship program, so they intern in local legislative offices, city councils, and state and federal offices as well. We are requesting the $12,500 amount to award 5 scholarships at $2,500 each. That is for 150 hours at a minimum wage rate of $16.50 an hour. Today, over 500 alumni have gone through our program. 67% of those are actually Fresno State alumni, and then 49 Fresno State students have been supported by ASI with this grant that you're voting on today since 2011 at various amounts, and so we're very grateful for that support over the years from ASI. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you will have. Thank you.
Are there any questions today for our guests? I guess one question for me. You said, do you know what the amounts were the last few years?
We do have that. I can read them all off to you if you like, but
if you're okay with it.
Yeah, sure. So 2011 to 2012, we received, and I should also note that the scholarship amounts have increased over the last year. So just because of the number of scholarships may not be a $2,500 amount because it was less in the past. So from 2011 to 2012, we received 5,000 from ASI, 4 scholarships. 12 to 13, 6 scholarships, $7,500. Then 15 and 16 was the next year we got funded. We received approximately $3,400 for 2 scholarships. 16 to 17, we received 1 scholarship at approximately $2,400. 17 and 18, we received 5 scholarships, $7,000. 18 to 19, we received $9,700, 6 scholarships. 19 to 20 was $5,000 for 4 scholarships. 20 to 21, $9,700 for 3 scholarships. 21 to 22, $10,500 for 5 scholarships. 22 to 23, $11,250 for 5 scholarships. And 23 to 24, $11,000 for 5 scholarships. And then last year, we were grateful to receive $7,200 for 3 scholarships. And the reason why it's that odd amount is because they were at $2,400 a piece last year. They're now going up to $2,500.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry to make you list them all.
That's
out.
all right, yeah.
So, okay, any questions before? Okay, well, thank you so much for presenting with us today.
Thank you.
And we'll leave it up
Appreciate
to
your time.
discussion for the rest, so thank you.
Great, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we'll do this in the correct order. I will open the floor for motions. Senator Chowdhury.
I motion to extend the finance committee's amount of $2,500 for the Matthews.
Okay, so to approve the recommended amount. All right, is there a second to that motion? Senator Dubois?
I'll second.
All right, are there any competing motions on the floor today? Seeing and hearing none. Any discussion or debate before we move forward to a vote? Seeing and hearing none. I'm gonna do, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Any abstentions? Seeing, hearing none, it gets passed. Thank you so much. Great. We'll be moving forward to action item 7.8, budget calls for the Student Recreation Center, faculty and equipment expansions. The Senate will be, and we'll be giving 15 minutes as normal, and this floor is back to BPF.
So currently, the Senate has recommended or approved $28,150. Again, our budget is $70,000. Total left is $41,850. For this application, the Finance Committee recommended. The Finance recommended $2,460 out of the $8,800 requested.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to hear the Rec Center's proposal. My name is Nicolette. I'm the operations supervisor at the Recreation Center. And so I just wanted to let you guys know the recommended amount given by the Finance Committee is to provide over at least 100 pieces of equipment to about 6,000 students. As of right now, we were just 100 shy of reaching 6,000 individual students served just this semester alone, which is a 31% increase from the last 2 semesters. So we're excited that more students are able to use our facility, and we're glad that we're getting back to our old numbers pre-COVID. However, we want to limit our wait times for students. We want them to have optimal time within the gym, but also get back to their studies or maybe their internships. So we're hoping that, with your guys' support, that we can, get the funds to provide students with more equipment. So that way, one, that they stay here on campus and have that campus community rather than going to other facilities around Fresno. So if you don't mind supporting us, we'd love to have that support from you guys. And I know our students and all your constituents would greatly appreciate your support as well.
Thank you. Are there any questions for our guest today? Oh, she's up here. Seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much for speaking with us today. What was the recommended amount for this again?
So for this application, the recommended amount was $2,460 out of the requested $8,800. As a reminder, the Senate has approved a total of $28,150 out of the $70,000 budget. Currently, we have $41,850 left.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the Finance Committee regarding this before we move forward to motions? Senator Hall.
I know that at the beginning of this year, we approved intramural sports for like $48,000 or something over 2 years. And that is helping the rec center, because if we didn't approve that, that would have been coming out of the rec center budget. So I feel like maybe we've already given a lot to the rec center. Is that taken into account already, that ASI has made a lot of contributions to the rec center already this year alone?
Well, anyone in the finance committee could answer that, so it'd be up to you.
So just for clarification, the memorandum that was approved earlier this year was for $40,000 for 2 years for intramural sports. This application, if there's a little bit of clarification, would be going towards equipment. Again, this is your decision, this is your student senate, so see.
But didn't the intramural sports budget, if we didn't approve to fund that, wouldn't that have come out of the rec center budget?
If that is what they mentioned, then yes.
I believe so. I mean, reasonably, the programs like the rec center and intramurals don't provide any revenue back to us. They are, at the end of the day, resources and services that don't provide a return back to us, right? Like, reasonably, we could sit here and say that we can forever give, year to year. I think this is a complaint I've heard from ASIs, is that, we give them consistent funding, but that is the structure of what they have. It's not a for-profit scheme, right? So it will forever be a reoccurring problem that they'll have to deal with, and they probably will always come to ASI for more funding, right? So just to clarify, even though we did allocate some of their budget from, having that MOU for intramurals in the beginning of the year, I'm doubtful that means that all of their obligation from that $20K that we filled for them has all of a sudden become convenient, or filled for them. So.
Did the rec center also get money from the fee increase?
I actually am not sure. I'm unaware. If you'd like.
I'm Larry Winchester, Associate Director of the Student Recreation Center. So intramural sports was provided funding. Out of that fee increase, the Student Recreation Center was not.
Was that money that you were already having to give up, or what? Is this just additional funding?
Which funding are you discussing?
From the fee increase, like, was it money that you guys were already having to pay, or is this just additional?
So the funding was going towards, it's been interesting because the rec center actually hasn't been in much of the discussion, so Amy might be able to provide a little bit more. That was going towards us being able to continue to grow and sustain the intramural program. Yes, anything we put towards intramurals comes out of anything student rec center costs. So yes, that $20,000 helped. That only covered a portion of our fall sports, nothing in our spring. So everything spring comes out of the student recreation center budget. The money that we are asking for directly would be going to facility requests, and so that would be putting in new equipment for that, and we'll be using that fee increase to help with all of our intramural recreation program.
And this is just to get the equipment that wasn't already purchased during the renovation?
Yes, to add more to it, so the original request that we did for the refresh was that it was going to be partially, our understanding was that it was going to be partially supported by the university, and in the end it has not been supported by the university at all. It's only come out of the Student Recreation Center's reserves, and so we were not able to do all of the equipment and the upgrades. Like we mentioned, we would want a hack squat or a belted squat. We would like more plates, and so that's our request, is to help supplement and fulfill, because right now we have a bare minimum number of plates to service all of the equipment that we have, and if we were able to have more, that would again lower our wait times and get people through and be able to use everything that they're needing. Right now they're kind of having to piece together the stuff that they need. Not that it's in poor shape, but we just don't have enough 5-pound plates, enough 10-pound plates. So we'd be supplementing that a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Other, any other questions for the finance committee? Okay. Any other questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, I will open the floor for motions.
I motion to approve.
For the recommended amount?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion? Okay. Is there any other competing motions on the floor? Okay, seeing and hearing none, any discussion or debate?
Yeah, I just want to say that MOU, like Freddie said, is consistent. So not only are we just working with that MOU, but now we're dealing with a 30% increase across the board, everything rec center. So now we have to include the 30%, which is hundreds and thousands maybe of students, new students coming into the rec on a consistent basis. So now we have to work with that, plus all the, it's a new renovated rec, so everyone wants to come see it, and we're dealing with that 30%. Is what I want to weigh on, because yes, that MOU is consistent, but refresh, and there's just more students. The simple basketball is just more students, and there's more need for the equipment that they are requesting. You know exactly what we're getting, and just that 30%. I just really want to weigh heavy on that 30%. It's probably more now. I got those numbers like 2 months ago, so it's probably more now. But I just want to weigh heavy on that 30% across the board.
Thank you, sir.
A lot more students coming to the rec every single day.
Appreciate it. Senator?
And then I did want to just note that like ASI priority rise, the rec center is something that's engaged with daily and it promotes wellness consistently on a daily basis to students.
Thank you. Are there any other points of discussion? Senator Hall?
I'm just really confused how, like, I support the rec center. I think it's a great program. I think a lot of students use it, so I'm a big fan of it. But I'm a little confused, like, the university told the rec center that they're going to help fund the renovation, and then they don't. I feel like the university and ASI needs to hold the university accountable for saying, look, we're going to fund this program, and then they completely drop the ball. It seems like kind of a joke and really unfortunate for the rec center that they're having to now carry the weight of that, you know, and ultimately students are too, because we're funding the student fees. So I think that maybe we should utilize our voice in ASI to hold the university accountable to do things that they've said they're going to do, like this, and like giving the farm workers meal vouchers. Like, the university can't just keep making empty promises.
Your point is sustained. We appreciate that. Are there any other points of discussion today? Seeing and hearing none, I'll be doing since we don't have any other competing motions, I will be doing a roll call vote for this. So Senator Blodgett?
Yes.
Senator Kamling?
Yes.
Senator Chaudhary?
Yes.
Senator Dubois?
Yes.
Senator Freshman?
Yes.
Senator Garabedian?
Yes.
Senator Guzman?
Yes.
Senator Hall?
Yes.
Senator Hope?
Yes.
Senator Howdigi?
Yes.
Senator
ASI is taking a quick break.